I have many symptoms of AuDHD, and I've had my business for 5 years. And these are the things that I've learned. Some of them I learned the hard way. So number one, there are basically two types of businesses that you can start. Number one is the product business, and I used to have it, and there is a service business. So basically you work with people. What's the difference? Well, the difference is quite simple. Product, you produce something or you buy something and then you sell to somebody else. Then the ways to sell, of course, there are many ways to sell, either face-to-face or online, but basically that's the solution, right? You have a product, you sell it. Then another option is service. And the service is you have to be there, you have to interact with people, and you deliver some kind of service. Again, the services are so many, from design to like teaching in my case. And so my first business was a product business. The product business was importing backpacks and bags and selling them here in Japan. And to be honest, I liked this because I didn't have to interact with customers, and that meant that I could work on my own time. So I had a different job, full-time job, and I could combine it with selling the bags. I would get up in the morning, pack the bags that were ordered, let's say yesterday. I would send them in the morning, and then I would go to work. That was really good. And so no interactions with customers. That was amazing. I used to sell them on Amazon. However, the problem with that business, this type of business, is usually you need some upfront investment, and usually it would be quite large. So in my case, why I failed that business was that because there was competition coming in, and I had not enough funds to secure kind of my own brand, so to speak. So like you could ask the factory to customize the products, and I would love to do that, but they had minimum order requirements, right? So if you want to sell a product, you have to buy it first. That's the risky part, and for that you need money. And most likely, if you're thinking about starting a business as AuDHD person, maybe you don't have money. And so then what is the other option? The other option is a the service type of business, which is what I'm doing now. I teach kids English. Okay, so English is not my first language, but of course it's much better than, a 3-year-old Japanese kid. So I do that. And I do it by myself. So I rent a space in the center of the city, and I have a website. That's how people find me. And I have my Google Maps, and that's how people find me. And yeah, basically I do everything. And so as you can see, this is very communication intensive type of work, because you have to interact with customers. You have to meet new people, which is, as we know, quite stressful if you have autism especially. And but here's the thing. I used to do this job for at least 5 years before I started this one. So I already knew how to do it. I knew that I was pretty good at this, at teaching. And also I kind of, as I was teaching, I was also learning how the business side of this worked. And so in this case, I also had to put up a pretty large investment for the rent. Because here in Japan, when you rent something, let's say there is a monthly rent, right? But usually on top of that, you have to put, let's say, 3 more months worth of rent up front. And so that was pretty hard. But basically, once that's done, it's done. Like now you can teach. And so this is what I'm doing now. And, it's doing okay, I think. It's enough for me to buy a car in the city where I don't really have to have a car. And I have two bikes and God knows how many bicycles. We live in a pretty good apartment. So yeah, it's not doing poorly, let's call it that. And my secret, I don't know how to say. So basically, the way how I think you should approach this is you find a job that you can do well, or you can do at least better than anybody else, or better than average, better than 70% of people. That's number one. Then, of course, you learn how to do the job. Then you learn how to manage it as a business. And so for that, of course, education. You need to also learn sales. I think that's the most important. Even when you still have a job, you have to think about everything you do, about your job, as your possible practice for sales, for promotions, for self-promotions, for self-advocacy. So basically just learn copywriting. Copywriting will give you an understanding of how usual people think. And basically for me, the biggest mind shift was that nobody cares about what you want. Yeah. And number two, you have to make whatever you're saying, presenting, offering, selling as attractive as possible to the other person, not for yourself. So you can't say, oh, I would like to have a raise. Like this is just one example that you can use in your current job, if you have a job, or when you apply for a job, right? You can say, oh, I want a raise, and they will ask you why. Well, oh, I've been working here for 3 years, I think I deserve more. Why? You know? So in my case, when I was asking for a raise, I was saying, look, I've been working here for 3 years, and I am doing more work and more important work than anybody else. Doesn't that mean that I should get paid more? And doesn't that mean that I should also get higher level job, basically, because I'm already doing this work that nobody else is doing and nobody else can do? And so that's how you approach it. Like, look, it's good for you. It's good for your company. Look, I've been doing this very, very good job that nobody can do, right? It's very good for the company. And therefore, I would like to have this promotion and, of course, a little bump in my payment. You see? And that's how you can approach everything. And then when you learn that, then when you start your own business, then you learn, you use the same skills. You say, look, I have this service and it's better than anybody else's. Here is why. If you join this membership, you will benefit in this and this and this and this way. And so by learning sales, you can basically grow your service, grow yourself in your job. And then if you want, you can also package your service into a product. And this is, I'm still not in that stage, so I can't tell you how to do that. But this is the basic idea, okay? And if you have any questions, please let me know.